How many times have you been told to hit up on the driver as much as possible? Maybe you open Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and you see all these videos about drills on getting your angle of attack more positive, but when you try it, it'll look something like this and you'll end up just topping the ball and hitting shots like that. Well, I'm gonna show you how that piece of information could be ruining your driver swing and what you actually should be doing when it comes to angle of attack. So firstly, let's just kick this video off by defining what angle of attack is. Angle of attack is how is that club head traveling as it hits the ball? Is it traveling on the way down? Is it level? Or are we actually hitting up on the golf ball? What controls angle of attack? How do we change angle of attack? Well, it's all to do with where we make contact with the ball relative to the arc of our swing. So the golf swing is basically just a giant arc. Now, in that giant arc, there has to be a low point of that arc. And we tend to find that it is roughly underneath the lead armpit. Reason why it's underneath the lead armpit is this is what is pushing out of the ground. It's rotating open. It drags the low point just roughly underneath the lead armpit. So that's a great reference guide. Now, when we position the ball back of the lowest point, we'll be hitting more down on it. Hence why irons, we hit down, 4, 8, 10 degrees on it. If we position the ball forwards of that lead armpit, we're going to be hitting up on the ball more. Now, I'm going to bring up two images. The first image is the PGA Tour average right here with a driver. And you can see the angle of attack there is minus 1.3. Now, suddenly that contradicts everything that you see out on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, where it's saying hit up, hit up, hit up. They're actually hitting down on it with driver. Now, obviously, this is an average. But if I bring up a second image, which is now the LPGA Tour average, what do you see? Well, it's positive 3 degrees. So suddenly you've got the guys hitting down on it minus 1.3. You've got the girls hitting up on it positive 3. Where do we fall into? Where do you fall into at home? Well, it's actually not as simple as just saying, right, hit up on it for everybody, because that's not going to work. Now, there are a couple of general rules that we need to sort of get out there first. Now, the more we start to hit up on the golf ball, the more we are going to be optimizing for distance, but we might sacrifice a little bit of accuracy. The more we hit level to slightly down on the ball, the more we're going to be optimizing for accuracy, and we're going to sacrifice a little bit of distance. Now, this is where we can actually use it to our advantage, and this is what the best players in the world do. They don't just have the same angle of attack for every single drive. They also don't tee it up the same height every single time. That's a bonus tip that we're going to jump into in a second. The second general rule is the slower your club head speed, the more you are going to want to hit up on the golf ball to help you optimize out distance. Why? Because the slower your club head speed, the less chance you have of the ball going offline. The faster your club head speed is, the more you're going to want to favor a level to slightly down angle of attack, because obviously speed is going to be your advantage, but we need to make sure we can control it. So now I've come down onto the grass so I can actually show you how to manipulate your setup and these things to your advantage. So let's just run through a standard drive that's just sort of a nice middle ground to where you're going to get a good amount of distance and a good amount of accuracy. So what I want you to do is roughly tee the ball up about half a golf ball above the top edge of the crown. Now, from there, at address, I want you to position the ball underneath your left armpit. Like I said, the lead armpit, the left armpit for me as a right-handed golfer, is roughly going to be the lowest point of our swing. If we position the ball under it, it's going to be the easiest place to sort of have a relatively neutral to slightly positive angle of attack. So my angle of attack here is going to be about 0 to positive 2 degrees. Now, from there, when you come back down to impact, I want you to return it and feel like that left armpit is back in line with the golf ball. This is a great sort of standard drive. Let me show you what it looks like. So hopefully it's underneath the left armpit right there. Return it back to that position. So now let's talk about how we can hit up on the golf ball more. And I want to make two subtle adjustments. Adjustment number one is I want you to tee the ball up just a little bit higher. So we are now going to have it to where maybe 2/3 of the golf ball are above the top edge of the crown. Now, to match this, we're also going to move the ball further forwards. But again, using the upper body, not the lower body. So we want to have the lowest point of our swing now behind the golf ball. This means that rather than having the ball underneath the left armpit, we want to have it more on the edge of the left shoulder, so somewhere around the edge of the left shoulder. Now, in this position here, you can see this actually just sets my upper body back more, and this is going to allow me now to have that positive angle of attack. Again, I'm not falling backwards or anything. All I'm trying to do is, if I set up with it on the edge of the left shoulder, I'm trying to return it back to the edge of the left shoulder. We're just doing our normal swing and allowing the angle of attack to naturally change. Let me show you what that one would look like here. So that was a great example. flew higher, definitely had less spin, but did go a little bit more offline. Now, what if we want to do the last one, which is one where we want to hit down a little bit more? This is a lot more about getting it in play. It's going to come out lower, a little bit more spin. How do we hit this one? Well, very first thing that we want to do is tee it down more. So we're going to take that tee, shove it down into the ground. So if the standard is about half the golf ball above the top edge, we're now going to go maybe a third of the golf ball about the top edge. So you can see that ball is now teed down a lot lower. If you want to go even lower, you can go even lower, but that's at your own discretion. Now, from there, again, we're trying to hit this before we get to the lowest point of our arc. So rather than have the ball underneath the left armpit, we're going to shuffle it back. So it's maybe just a little bit inside the left armpit, kind of where the logo on your lead pec muscle would be right there. Now, from there, again, I'm going to have just that nice same swing, and we're going to see that this ball is going to come out. You might find that it might block a little bit to the right just because we're hitting it a little bit earlier. So don't be afraid to just aim slightly left just to counteract that. So you can see ball's going to be back. This is definitely going to come out lower, but it's going to be a lot more accurate. So now we know how to change our angle of attack to produce different shots. Now let's apply it to your game. So the first one we're going to talk through is clubhead speed. So as a general rule, the lower your clubhead speed is, the less the ball's going to go offline. So if you take somebody, say, with a 70 mile an hour driver clubhead speed and somebody with 120 mile an hour driver clubhead speed, the potential for the 120 mile an hour to go more offline is going to be far higher than the 70 mile an hour. So in this situation, if you're a golfer with a lower clubhead speed, you're going to want to favor more of a upwards angle of attack, 3, 4, 5 degrees, something along those lines. If you are somebody who has a very fast clubhead speed or is edging up into the fast clubhead speed category, you want to favor more of a neutral to maybe even slightly descending angle of attack as just sort of your standard norm. So it's one of those where, again, angle of attack really depends on the person. We just have to make sure that it matches your swing. Now, let's say you want to get a little bit more creative. When you're out on a golf course, you want to use this to your advantage. Well, you are going to mostly hit your standard drive, whatever that is for your clubhead speeds, whether you're hitting up on it more, or whether you're hitting down on it more. But let's just say you get to a hole and maybe there's water down both sides or out of bounds down both sides, or it's just really, really narrow. In that situation, you are going to want to favor the more descending blow on the ball, so the shorter shot that's going to have a lot more accuracy. So in that situation, you'll tee the ball down, move it back slightly, that's going to produce more spin. Yes, you're going to sacrifice a little bit of distance, but your accuracy is going to be a lot greater. Let's just say you're playing a golf course, kind of an American style, a lot of those American style golf courses where they're a lot wider. In those situations, sure, you can then tee the ball up, you can play it further forwards, you can hit up on the ball more, and you can really try and optimize out that distance. So again, there's no hard and fast rules. You might be hitting 3 drivers in a row, so 3 different holes, 3 back to back. You might hit a standard one, and then the next one's a really narrow hole. You might hit a low one, then the next one, it opens up massively, you can hit a high one. The key is understanding that we need to adapt this variable to our advantage, and that is what allows the best players in the world to be amazing off the tee. So there you have it. That is how angle of attack can help you out. Now, obviously, if you are a golfer who is hitting 10 degrees down with a driver, you're going to need to fix that. That is something where it is more of a technical based video. I've got videos on that, so go check that out. This is more of what you should be aiming for with your angle of attack. And I see so many people that just don't know what they're aiming for. And hopefully this has offered a little bit more clarity to the situation. Now, if you have questions about this video, drop them down below. I always respond to the comment section so I can help you out with your game. Now, if you need a little bit more one-to-one help with your game, I offer online coaching on the Skillist platform. Be sure to check that out. And if you have enjoyed today's video, please give it a like and subscribe, and also click that bell button so that you get notified every time I post a new video.